Explain to us, what is implicit bias?
We define it here at the Kirwan Institute as the unconscious attitudes or stereotypes that impact our understanding, actions, and decisions. But what we mean by that is that as individuals, we strive to be fair, to be logical and objective, but ultimately we all fall short because we carry with us these preconceived notions and these judgments about people, even if we don't want or intend to. So that's what we mean when we say that our biases can be implicit or unconscious.
So you've defined for us what implicit bias is, which is terrific. Can you talk a little bit more about what colorblindness is on the other side?
Yeah, so colorblindness, it's this idea or notion that I don't see color. I might just see you for who you are as a person, your personality, or what you bring to the table. But in the scientific community, we know that this isn't true. We are constantly translating information about the individuals we see and how we perceive them, and what someone's race is or what someone's ethnicity is, as well as gender and other kind of surface-based identities are some of the first things that we register as human beings. Even though that might be a goal to see all people equally as a value or a construct, it's not something that adds up in terms of the science and how we perceive others.
Is there the chance that technology might be colorblind? I mean, we have computing, artificial intelligence, algorithms.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up. If human beings, if human decision makers hold all of these biases with us, then maybe the solution is to be able to look towards algorithms, new technologies, artificial intelligence, and data to be more objective. But in reality, there's still a couple problems with that premise, with those ideas. And first is that human beings are the ones that are designing these algorithms and how they work. So actually those implicit biases can be embedded into the algorithms themselves.
So you have an example you can show us right now about how an algorithm might possibly have implicit bias?
Yes, so we can look to that example right now. So let's start off with a situation that can be a little bit anxiety-inducing for everyone. Let's say that you have a job interview, you're trying to look as sharp as possible. So you do a quick search engine search to see what professional hairstyles are. And what do you see being depicted with what those results show?
As someone who's gone for several job interviews, and at this point I don't have hair, but I previously did have hair, I don't see anybody that I can identify with to figure out how I should look for an interview.
Right, so there's not a lot of diversity there. And this is happening not just with this search, but it's happening hundreds and hundreds of times replicated over our days and our weeks and our experiences. So we might think that this is just one small or insignificant piece, but what the real problem is that if I'm a user just typing this in, I don't know that those biases and those stereotypes are being embedded with what I'm seeing in front of me, and I don't know that those associations are being strengthened over time.
What would you recommend to lay people as to how we can counteract that? Because we are striving to have less biases.
Yeah, so the first step to understanding how to challenge and combat our biases is simply to just be aware of them, to recognize bias in the world around you, but also within ourselves. But I think far too often, solutions to address implicit bias or even to address racism in general focus too much on the individual and individual behavior. It's not just this conversation about bad apples, but how biases and racism can be ingrained in our policies and within our laws themselves. Until we focus on our policies and until we focus on our institutions, then it's going to be much more difficult to find real solutions that are actionable.